Welcome to the Venetian Hotel Resort and Casino in Las Vegas for the 2009 Hardbat Classic presented by Bud Light. I am Matt Schick, along with Scott Gordon, bringing you the biggest, baddest throwdown that the sport of table tennis has ever seen, with an unprecedented grand prize of $100,000. We are now in the quarterfinal round. Scott, tell us how we got here.
John, a very business-like performance from Nebraska. They do it with special teams, they do it with defense, and just enough offense to get their 9th win of the regular season. And the Husker fans...
You can be a winner here at the Hardbat Classic. Your rating just went up 30 points.
My rating went up too.
Matt Schick, one of the commentators of the event.
I'm not even supposed to be talking to you right now. We're off the clock. And
okay.
This is a violation. How's that for commentating?
That was excellent. Thank you.
Wow, that guy was funny. Game 2 of the championship match.
Oh, tonight, Ellie put it all on the line. And Roberto asked for her hand in marriage, and she said yes. And I've got it, thank you.
Okay.
And judging by today's sound bites at Big Ten Media Days, happily ever after for Nebraska will begin next season when it joins the Big Ten Conference.
One more stat about Ndamukong Suh. He has 1 interception and 10 pass deflections. That means 11 passes defended. That ranks him in a tie for 31st nationally across the country in passes defensed. There are no other defensive linemen in the top 100. The rest are linebackers and defensive backs, and just a couple of linebackers at that. John, he is one of a kind.
Well, he's an amazing athlete. He's faced a lot of double teams, especially last week, and he still won his 3rd National Defensive Player of the Week award this year. I'm asking you, Matt, why doesn't he get a shot at the Heisman?
Well, it's one of those positions, John, that it's not a glamour position, and quarterbacks and running backs historically win that award. And in a team where you're not in the top 10, not in the top 15, and you play a position like defensive tackle, you're not going to get a lot of running publicity. Plus, his name is really hard to pronounce, John.
On a thin piece of wood.
I love it. Later on, we will return to this championship arena with some of the most rabid sports fans you will ever see. This is the 2009 Hardbat Classic presented by Bud Light.
And tonight, he is officially coming to Nebraska. Logan Ehlers told me within the last 45 minutes that he did turn down the Toronto Blue Jays and will pitch for the Huskers next season. The Blue Jays continued to come after him with more money. The highest offer coming in the neighborhood of around $610,000. In the end, not enough to dissuade Ehlers from following through with his commitment to pitch for the Big Red. This is a huge get for head coach Mike Anderson, who has lost a bunch of guys to the draft in the past, and his program has suffered from it. Ehlers was an 8th-round draft pick of Toronto. All right, now think of the phrase that strikes fear into your heart the most. For guys, maybe it's "I do." For local sportscasters, it's probably "no media food." For football players, it's 2-a-days.
Instead, they miss a couple of field goals. Nebraska returns a punt for a touchdown, and the game is decided in the 4th quarter. But giving up that long touchdown, I watched Bo Pelini on that sideline. That last play of the game, the long touchdown pass, Bo Pelini took off his hat, threw it to the ground, was yelling at his brother Carl.
No surprise here, the first Big Ten football championship game will be held at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. The Big Ten Conference announced the news today. The game is set for December 2011. A more thorough search for other sites after 2011 will begin soon. That, according to Big Ten Commissioner Jim Delaney.
And we check back in with Matt Schick in Boulder, who threw a few batteries in his time, I'm sure, as a student. Matt, these fans, they really don't like each other a whole lot, do they?
John, in my defense, those were AAA.
12 Final Fours, including last year. We leave you with a weird way to win a game. 2 outs, tied at 6 in Tampa. Men on the corners, Jason Kubel with the high pop-up from Minnesota. We got it. We less than got it. It hit the catwalk above the field, 190 feet up there. So if you can't hit it far, hit it high. Go-ahead run scores. Minnesota wins 8-6. Anyway, you can do it.
There's no rule, like with volleyball, if it hit the ceiling, it was do-over?
The rule is the game is meant to be played outside, I think is what we find.
I think that's a good rule.
And now the nerves will set in as Jack Baker stands on the precipice of table tennis history. His girlfriend, Lindsay, can barely contain herself as Baker is now 1 point away from winning $100,000.
Oh, that's it.
Overtime hits it into the net, and Jack Baker, the 23-year-old from Mobile, Alabama, has won the inaugural Let's take a look at some of Baker's K-Swiss high-performance highlights of the match, and Baker's defense was just unmatched. Incredible gets from Baker, getting everything that Overton threw his way, inside and out, left to right. Nothing was too tough for him today, and then the kill shots, a little too tough for the 73-year-old Overton. It has been an unbelievable tournament, and what a ride for the Bama Brit, your 09 Hardbat Classic champion. For Judah Friedlander and Scott Gordon, I'm Matt Schick from the Venetian in Las Vegas. This has been the 2009 Hardbat Classic presented by Bud Light.
If you're looking for some coach or player sound bites following today's Husker two-a-day practices, you won't find them here. This morning, Bo Pelini placed the media in timeout for the rest of the week. That after word leaked out following Tuesday's practice that linebacker Sean Fisher had sustained a leg injury. We learned this morning that the source of the leak was a friend of a Husker assistant coach who watched practice. Now, one of our photojournalists witnessed Fisher being carted away from practice with his leg taped, and we did report that. In an interview with the Associated Press late tonight, Bo Pelini confirms that Sean Fisher is out for the year. The sophomore linebacker made 35 tackles last season. Pelini says he was upset with the media for calling Fisher's family for confirmation of the injury, while Fisher, as Pelini put it, was still on the operating table, saying, quote, "That's crossing the line." In the same interview, Pelini also said that backup corner Anthony Blue tore his ACL and is also out. Now, Pelini also alluded to the AP that he may lift the media ban before Saturday, acknowledging that a friend of one of the Husker assistant coaches posted the news of Fisher's broken leg on an internet message board. Because of that, Pelini says he will continue to ban guests from practices for the time being. Now, Pelini did communicate with the rest of the world via Twitter tonight. Quote, "No meetings tonight. Going to show our guys how to drive some go-karts." So obviously, he's over us. Now, for the time being, there is no access to practice, but that doesn't mean there's no access to practice video. Check this out. This is from 1994. Look at Tommy Frazier slinging that ball around. Look at him there. He looks like a good ball player. The Huskers going at it on the incredible turf there at Memorial Stadium. Hey, it may not be new practice video, but unfortunately, it's the best we could do today. But in all seriousness, here's what we can tell you about today's practice. They practiced twice, actually. It was two-a-days. The Huskers competed for positions. They wore their uniforms, and sources indicate they were sweaty after it was all over, although we haven't been able to confirm that. Stay with us as we continue to follow that developing story. There. Meanwhile, in Omaha, the Mavericks welcomed us with open arms today to check out their brand new scoreboard. MCL Construction and Sign Company made it happen today, installing the 21 by 42-foot video board this afternoon. It's called Sokol Vision, and Athletic Director Trev Albert says it is big for the program in more ways than one.
His name is really hard to pronounce, John.